FaceTime back.
It's 11 on SFM, South Africa's news and information leader. The best of jazz and Mantha Shango in for Ike all the way until 12 of midnight. Time flies when you're having a good time, but it's alright. Nobody's complaining. Let the time roll so that some of us can get paid, man. When are you getting paid, Friggy? Shannon Modey there. A song called Wanderlust. Pleasure and a privilege to welcome a lady who is part of the Sex Summit. If you were here on Thursday, opening night of the Standard Bank Drive Jazz, you will have seen her with 4 other ladies, specialists in the saxophone, and they were doing this thing. The one and only Rosemary Quaye. My sister, good evening.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Nice to have you.
Thank you.
How are you enjoying this festival so far?
I'm loving it, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It's really kind of opened my eyes a lot, and you know, just to different cultures and everything. It's just, you know, it's great.
Your first time?
First time in South Africa.
How did they find you?
Interesting. I had an email from a guy I've never heard of, just saying that would I be interested to come and play in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a bit of a joke, because I always get like idiots, you know, emailing me
Taking
and stuff.
chances as well. Yeah.
So I didn't really respond, and he wrote again, and I thought, well, actually, I read about it and thought, you know, maybe this guy's legit. So I responded and said, okay, you know, tell me more about it. Anyway, a long story cut short, I then had an email from Mantua, who's the head of Team Music Man, and basically to put it in a nutshell, they invited me to come over and play. So this guy that wrote to me initially was like a little angel that found me and actually got me involved in something as great as this.
I wonder if it's got.
I'm honoured. I'm honoured.
I wonder if it's got to do with you having done this for 24 years and you don't look a day older than 30.
Thank you. Possibly, but I think it's a great experience, because I mean, I've never been to South Africa before, so something as big as this for me is, you know, an honour. Especially to play for Kip Wetski's on his music. That is really what the Sax Summit is about. Where, you know, we're kind of bringing his works to life, and the arranger quaye, who actually transcribed it all for the saxophones, made it possible for us, you know, to put this thing together.
Was it easy for you ladies to interpret
Yeah,
music?
it was great, because we actually met on the first day we all arrived together, and we kind of met in the foyer of the Crown Plaza, and then like half an hour later we, you know, taken to an interview, and we had to play together like that for the first time. We just did a jam, and it worked, we gelled, and then from then we just like got to know each other more and more and more through the rehearsals, and the whole thing just clicked, which is unusual, but it works, you know, it worked well. Because we're all from different backgrounds, you know, America, Norway, England, South Africa, and we've all got, you know, come together and put all our own contributions to it, our own experiences to it.
Tell us about the rehearsals. I'm just thinking of the intensity. 3 days is not enough
3 days
time.
solid, yeah. But you know, we're all like, you know, good readers. We all understand music, and so it wasn't that hard to actually get it together. And we all sort of put our own ideas across as well, which kind of gelled it together even more. And we went out socially, so again, getting to know each other more individually. We're all in the same hotel, and it worked. I mean, the Monday morning, I'm like, oh, you know, this could be tough. But by lunchtime, we were just laughing and gelling and jamming, and you know, it was good. It's good stuff. Cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Playing wrong notes deliberately, just having a laugh. So it's great. It's a really good experience, and you know, the sad thing is I'm going home tomorrow. I'm going back to Manchester.
Gee.
Back to reality.
Are you ladies going to be talking beyond this?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We've all swapped email addresses, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. In fact, I'm with one of the girls tonight, Tabby Singh.
Yes.
She's supporting one of her other friends who's in a band tonight on bass, and so I've come, you know, especially to support her as well, and obviously catch up with Tabby Singh before we go, because we've kind of hit it off. You know, I mean, I'm friendly with all of them, and we're all getting on. But I think I've kind of made a bit more of a bond with Tabby Singh. So it's just great. I mean, I'm going to keep in touch with all of them, and I hope they feel the same way.
I'm thinking as well, a lot of jazz lovers maybe looked at you and thought, we must have seen her somewhere. Who have you performed with?
I've played, I've done like all kinds of stuff. Band on the Wall in Manchester, which is like a really well-known jazz venue. I've played with Courtney Pine. I've been backstage with him, and he's been like a mentor to me. He's given me one of his mouthpieces, and it's like treasuring it. He's given me tips, which I use to this day. You know, I've been friends with him for a long time, and he's inspired me. He's even got a mention on my website because he's someone that I look up to, as well as my older idols, which is like Stan Getz. I love his sound. Lester Young, Sonny Stitt. They're the kind of guys that I aspire to. And I've also played with like local bands, and I've played for the brand Quicksilver. They've asked me to do a TV commercial, like music for that, so I've done that for them. I've played for Dior, for L'Oreal, and Harvey Nichols in Leeds and Manchester. So I mean, and also George Osborne. I've done a few bookings for him personally at his clinics, which was good, and I made sure that I had a blue dress on. So so I've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of stuff. I've played for Noir Femmes, Gail Thompson. She's quite a well-known jazz educator and performer. And about 9 years ago, she put a 16-piece, all-female, all-black swing band together. And again, I was asked to take part in that. And that was, again, amazing. Similar to this, but a bigger scale in terms of members. There was like 16 of us, but we only toured the UK. So for me, this is like a big thing to actually get on a plane and come to South Africa. Is cool.
It speaks to your versatility because you've been able to play on.
And in a way, it's personal
genres,
to me as well, because my father is from Accra in West Africa, in Ghana, and I never actually got to come to visit Ghana, and he's dead now. He died 15 years ago. And my mother's from Italy, and my dad, like I say, was from Ghana, and I never got the chance to come through circumstance and sort of family stories, etc. Circumstance, really. So now I've had the chance to come to South Africa. For me, it's kind of personal because I feel more at home, even though it's South Africa, not West Africa, but it's the same. I kind of feel more at home here than I possibly do in Manchester.
You know what
I know my dad would have liked that. He'd have been proud of me right now. Because he said to me, when my parents divorced, he said to me, what did I want for my 11th birthday? I said, I want a saxophone. He's like, come on, a saxophone, they're expensive, I said, yes, but I want a saxophone. Because he used to listen to Junior Walker and the All Stars, Jimmy Smith, brother Jack McDuff. These are the guys that I kind of grew up listening to, as well as, like, say, Stan Getz and Lester Young, etc., Ben Webster. And I always knew that I wanted to play the saxophone. So he thought I was joking, but I kept on and on and on and on. And then finally he bought me the saxophone. And I ran into the staff room at school, knocking on the door, Mr. Roberts, I've got a saxophone. My teacher said, you get the saxophone, we'll arrange lessons. We're not going to arrange lessons first, you get the instrument first. So I did. And my dad was proud that I'd managed to get the school to agree to saxophone lessons, and I've never looked back. But unfortunately, my dad died before I was really able to, for him to see my success, or sort of climbing success, however gradual. But he's not really been there to see that. So for me to be here means a lot.
I can tell you, we believe that he's watching over you with a big smile.
Exactly. And that's really another reason why it's special to me, as well as, of course, the Kippy's music and meeting the other girls and the whole experience. Yeah.
I'll tell you, we also believe that when the water stops for the first time, it repeats that, and hopefully you'll be able to make it to Ghana.
I'd love to. See, I have no family left now.
Yeah.
My dad had a sister called Gertrude, that she was like the remaining sister in London, but she's died, so I believe. And his brother, they also went to Ghana long before, he got ill, and I never really got the chance. Again, because my parents had divorced, it was difficult. Not a very pleasant divorce, and so my mother got custody of me, blah blah blah, without boring you with the details, but it was virtually impossible for me to actually have that chance to go to Ghana. And my dad remarried as well, which complicated it further. So I was actually, when I had my daughter, my father, you know, we got close again, and he came to see my daughter. He was happy, he said, I'll take you to Ghana, blah, blah. He'd actually started a business in Ghana in telecommunications, where he was going to rent his the property out to diplomats from France. He had these projects, and basically he died literally when my daughter was a year old, and that kind of just all, you know, bad timing basically. So I never got the chance to go to Ghana. I never got the chance for him to see my daughter grow up, and of course for him to see me here now doing what I'm doing. But the saxophone is like my communication.
Yes, yes, because I'm thinking as well, I mean, you being in the music business, entertainment also has got to do with appreciating life, where we've been, our history and so forth. You might just get the chance to go to Ghana and see it the way you would want to see it, and probably experience it the way maybe your dad would have wanted you to.
Exactly.
And your daughter, and have that kind of closure.
It's sad really that, you know, the way that things have turned out like that, unfortunately. But it's always been in my mind, and I think that separates as well. All of us players were very like musically literate, where I tend to go off and play by my feelings. So I'm more of an emotional player, a feel player, rather than relying on the dots and the music. And because I've had quite a turbulent life, I kind of put my experiences through my thoughts, and that comes out in my music, because like the saxophone's an extension of me. Well, that's how I see it. So I can express my innermost thoughts through my music rather than maybe on paper.
Maybe that's why you're here.
And spiritually as well, because I believe in all that stuff.
Maybe that's why you're here. This is what they saw in what you do, and they wanted you to share it with us.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I've had that chance, and I think as well, something like if you read a story about somebody and you feel that and you can relate to that, you can sort of play more with more feeling and empathy towards what you're reading or what you're feeling. Do you understand what I mean?
I do.
Like, obviously, because I've had my experiences in my life and my upbringing, for me, I can sort of feel more when I'm playing, because I can relate back to those feelings that I've had, whether they're good or bad, happy or sad or angry or joy, you know. So and I do think spiritually as well has got a lot to do with it. Like Pharoah Sanders is another favourite artist of mine. I've listened to him, and I think he's got a spiritual way of playing, more so than say other sax players or musicians. Yeah. I can sort of feel which ones are more emotional than ones that are more technical. And I'm definitely not a technical player.
What I like about this is that, you know, speaking to the various artists, especially ladies, things about honesty, things about sincerity, that for me carries a lot of weight, because then people listen to you and see beyond the music and just see you.
And the whole thing about like the South African, the apartheid and all what's gone on. See, because my mother being Italian and my father being Ghanaian, when my parents got together, there was a lot of racism again with those two. Like you know, my mother's family would be like, you know, what are you doing? Yeah. And my dad as well, what are you doing? So it was kind of like, but they stayed together. And when they brought me into the world, my mother experienced some sort of backlash from, say, some of my dad's friends. Most of them were okay, but some would be, you know, what you doing, Max? And even when I dated a white guy, and a friend, we went to a party at my dad's house, and this lady said to me, "Can't you get yourself a black man?" And I just laughed, and I laughed, but I'm thinking, I kind of understand. I mean, she said it probably joking, but I understand, because my mother's had quite a bit of racism, you know, and my dad as well. Because if you think about it, in sort of years ago, a black man in Manchester, they weren't as accepted like they are now, in terms of work, you know, in terms of, you know, Manchester's cool now, but like say 30 or 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, it wasn't the case. And I think my parents, all those years ago, were experiencing that. So I as well, when we moved to Knutsford, and I was like maybe the second black person at school in a predominantly white area, I felt the same thing as well. I felt a bit outcasted, and as well, that's why I threw myself into my music. So there's a lot of things that I can draw together that make me who I am, and that comes out in my music. think.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's all, and like I say, I mean, the issues, my life with my father. I mean, we could be here for 3 days, but that has shaped me the way I am, and the problems with my family, my parents when they divorced. My mother got custody of me, and again, that was more problems. So I've been through a lot, but at the same time, I'm grateful for what I have. I'm not one of these people who say, "Oh, I'm a product of circumstance. I've gone the wrong way because of the life I've had." Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've made my choice, and I believe in spirits and ascended masters, and I'm into all that stuff. And I do believe that they're watching over me, my daughter, and I think that my dad's watching over us, and has probably guided that little angel of that man that found me on the internet. He was here actually at the end of my performance, yes. And I was doing another interview with another. Is it SB? There's another.
City FM?
It was another radio station. I can't remember what it was called, but he waited for me outside.
Yeah.
And he said I was the guy that found you on the internet and put you forward to Team Music Man, etc, etc, etc. And that was like, you know what, that meant a lot to me, that he actually came and said that to me. That was special. It's because of him that I'm here. Yeah.
We're glad that he found you, and we're glad that you agreed to come over.
Of course.
Hopefully you'll come back.
I'd love to. I'd love to come back.
You should. Rosemary, many thanks.
No, thank you.
Gee, you could teach me a lot of things, I tell you. As we were saying, we could sit here for 3 days. I wouldn't mind.
Sit there for 3 days.
We'll have lots of tea.
Yeah, and cakes.
And lots of cakes.
I like cakes.
And we can talk. But thank you for being here. And
no, thank you.
Hopefully you'll come back again.
I'd
and hopefully you ladies might just put one album.
That'd be great. I'd love to meet them all again. I'd love to stay in touch with them because they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
And, you know, we got on. So I've made, if nothing else, I've made 4 good friends.
Well, you've made a lot more.
Well, yeah.
4 close and a few others.
Yeah. You're number 5.
Rosemary, many thanks. And
thank you.
Have a safe trip home.
Yes,
I hope you take
tomorrow.
a piece of South Africa with you.
Yeah, I'd love to, and I'd love to be back.
You should soon.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gents, Rosemary Quaye. She blows the saxophone like you've never seen her before. So check out on Twitter.
Yeah, my website as well, www.rosemaryquaye.co.uk.
.co.uk. You'll find it there. Rosemary, many thanks.
Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. It's 23 minutes to midnight. Gee, the show is 23 minutes to go. Man, can we start over, Freaky?
Did I bore the socks off you there?
No.